Hey everybody. Hey, I just wanted to come on and share a few things. Been pondering and thinking and praying and the words that have been given this week by a few, as well as recapping some of the words that the Lord has been giving me and saying that some of these things are bringing those kind of things up. Does that make any sense? Okay. From time past, I think one of the biggest words that I've been getting, and of course, I think, we've proven over and over that time is off as we know it. We're looking, our human minds can only grasp so much of what our Heavenly Father has in store and what He's talk about. And it's really probably so simple that it's right in front of our face, yet we make it complicated. I do sense that, a lot of times we try to look deeper and into things than what really is, and we just need to let it go. Let the Lord show us, affirm it in our spirit. By our spirit, not by our emotions and not by our humanism. The hard part. So, knowing the time is off, and then I'm thinking, I'm looking at the change in the season. And there's been a lot of things. It's the time of the season, but the zombies came on the other day. I don't know what had to do with it, but it's like little stuff that the Lord's been saying, but I haven't been putting it together. It hasn't connected yet. And I'm like, yeah, this is like October, and it feels like fall. And I know y'all in other parts of the country, it really is fall. I get it. But this is Texas, and it's not normal. So I'm thinking about seasons and seasoning, and the Lord had me look up the word season and what it meant. And, other than being the obvious, the 4 seasons, where it has multiple meanings. Also, we season our food. And things like that. And, are we pepper? Are we salt? Are we garlic powder? Or what are we? Parsley? Oregano? So there's different kind of seasonings, and all of these seem to have double meanings, triple meanings, quadruple meanings, or in the Bible over and over. And I know the Lord really emphasizes on certain things and repeats himself several times, if you're listening in the spirit, of what he's saying and the importance of the words verily, verily, and some of the things he says and why he says it in the context that he says it in. It's also important to put into perspective. I know that, one of my being in the season, one of the first thing I think of when I heard the word season from the Lord was, of course, the birds, turn, turn, turn. There's a season for everything, which brings us to Ecclesiastes 3, which would be my second thought that would have come to mind like immediately about it being a season. And what is the Lord implying by a season? And it's a time frame. We are in the season, okay? It is a time frame designed and appointed by God that we are in the season, okay? We know what time it is. So I went to and in Matthew 5:13 through 16, we're to be the salt and light to the world. So seasons seem to have several meanings here, but going over Ecclesiastes 3 in KJV, starting in verse 1, he says, "To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to render, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace." And I'm thinking how we're just so trapped in time. And again, it brought me back to my watches video and how time is off as we know it. How season is used in so many ways. And so all of this has double meanings and quadruple meanings. But one other thing, and I'm going to give you a little Bible trivia here. I studied under several prophetic, and golly gee, I wish I had absorbed more then, you know. You know what you're saying, hindsight 2020. One thing that I was taught, and like I said, I've got this older Bible with notes, and I got a note in here and it said, "Under the sun" is used 28 times in the book of Ecclesiastes. Under the sun. And I'm thinking, you know, the word tells us that there's nothing new under the sun. And there's a time for everything. And time is off. But time is also a time set aside to catch us up. I'm going to leave a link because it's pretty interesting in what the word as a verb and a noun actually mean. But let us be the salt, spice. We need to be seasoned up ourselves in the word. And we need to be salt to this dark world. For we are the salt and light, and the darker it gets, the lighter we get, the brighter we get. I know in my spirit, I've really been hearing that the veil is being lifted and the portals have been opened. And I really do believe that a lot of us have been on it, and we know what's been going on with the portals and etc. for a long time. But I don't think we realize to the depth of where it's at right now. And that these portals have been opened. And that these things are coming through. I think it's no coincidence. I'm going to save that for another video. That some other things are happening. But I do believe the Lord has also given us provision. Armor up. And to be on guard. Guard our hearts and minds. At all times, to love one another, love Him with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Press into Him, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. And let Jesus be the Lord of your life today if He's not. And if you're not quite there, make Him all the way the Lord of your life. Just let Him be in charge of everything and be in control, for He is. So this is Debbie from Texas saying, peace out. Maranatha, the King is coming.